Man Utd to Tottenham Hotspur 2. Once again, we are in a similar situation like last week, where we almost in around 7 minutes of the game we lost the game. We were winning, we were comfortable. Then it was 2-1, and we had a late equalizer. So there's a way to look at this game. You can either get frustrated of how we are losing points from promising positions, or you can either look at it as resilience, because both games last season we lose both games, and this season we found a way even in adversity to get back into the game. Because if you look at that game, Sesko went off injured and we had to play 10 men for the rest of the game, which was around 10 minutes. That's a long time to play for away from home, because of unfavorable circumstances that just happened, something that you wouldn't have expected would have happened. But this team found a way and they equalized the game. So that's a positive to look at. Let's look at the player ratings. Lamens saved us in this game, pulled off two great saves. Both looked like there were certain goals, and even the goal that he conceded, it was just a deflection from the lead that put him beyond him. He could have saved that goal. So Lamens gets an 8/10. It was a good performance from a goalkeeper. Nothing he could have done about the two goals. One of them was a deflection, and the other goal he couldn't have gotten to it. Delete was, in my opinion, my man of the match, because he had very good contributions. It was unfortunate with the deflected goal, but he had both contributions very well defensively, and he won us the point in the end, when it would look like it was going to be a certain loss. Maguire had a good game until he had to come off without injuries. I give him a 7/10. He did what he needed to do. He controlled the game well. He shepherded the strikers into positions where there were not danger. So he did his job. Luke Shaw had a 7/10. He didn't really stand out in this game. He had a good game without being exceptional. Dogu, I expected better from Dogu. Dogu came in for the lot, and you expect him to prove why he needs to be starting this game, but they seem to be cut from the same cloth. They do different things that they're not supposed to be doing. They might, Jadalo loses concentration in important moments of the game, but Dogu doesn't put in the crosses when he gets into favorable positions. You look at the positions he got, in good positions where he can put in a good cross, and he either overhit the cross or did the wrong thing. So they are both cut from the same cloth, and it shows that there's a weakness at left wing back position that seems not to be going away. Casemiro was a very good player in this game. Once again, in back-to-back games, Casemiro comes off and we seem to lose it. Because the moment Casemiro came off, this team started playing very badly. They lost the whole control of the game, and Spurs looked like scoring every time they went forward. So Casemiro had a good game, but we started to the point where he can't finish a game, so he plays 60 minutes, he has to be substituted. Bruno was a 7.5/10. He didn't have a particularly a good game. The best of games, actually. He had a good game, but there were those decision-making positions where he probably dribbled too much or lost the ball in very dangerous positions where we had to be under pressure. But he created a very good chance for the lead to get the equalizer with a very good corner. So I give him a 7.5/10. Mazrui came in, was decent, but he didn't really light up the place. He got a 6/10 from me. He was good, but it seems he's still regaining his match fitness after the injury that kept him out for 4 weeks. Ahmad was good. He played mostly on the right 10, not as effective as he is when he's on the left wing back position. I gave him a 7/10. Mbeumo is a class player all through. He took his chance, his header very well to give us the lead, and he was a menace throughout. He wasn't. He tried to link up with Dogu, but as you can tell, Dogu, the chances he was created to put in across, he wasted all those chances. So he could have been more effective if only Dogu, the balls that he gave Dogu could have been used well. Cunha had one terrible game. Cunha, in the second half especially, he kept losing balls in very dangerous position, trying to dribble all the time. He gets the ball, loses it, we are countered. There are two chances that could almost have ended on a goal because he couldn't release the ball fast enough. And he was rightly substituted because he wasn't playing the way you'd expect him to play. He wasn't playing with his teammates. He can't do anything on his own. In fact, you get the ball sometimes and you think he thinks he's invincible, that he can't be caught by other players because he tries to dribble two, three players, and it's not good because the simple pass will always be better. So Cunha had a 5/10. Euro came in, did what he needed to do. He didn't, he wasn't put under any pressure mostly, but he did his job. So he get a 6/10. Dalot, just like I said earlier, Dalot and Dogu are cut from the same cloth. He came in and I didn't see any impact from him. And in the positions that in fact, one of his first moment of the game was giving the ball blindly to no one in particular that gave chance to Spurs. So that is something that is a worry. Ugarte, something really needs to give because it's time that we need to have another defensive midfielder, because anytime Ugarte comes on, the game just goes into chaos. He doesn't defend well. He tries obviously to defend well, but he doesn't distribute the ball well. So he gets the ball in almost always a back pass, or takes too long to go on the ball to decide. So it kills our momentum. So in this game he came on and he wasn't good at all. So he gets a 5/10. Sesko still needs to adapt to the Premier League. He's too slow, because there's one chance before he got injured. There was a very good ball that Mount created for him. Mount pulled a reverse ball and it went to Sesko, and if only Sesko took it one touch, that's a goal. He just dilly-dallied, and the player like Van de Ven is so fast that Van de Ven was able to get back and put in a block that meant we didn't score. It was at 1-1 at that point, and another striker scores that goal. So for me, he gets a 5/10. He got injured. That's so unfortunate. I don't know how long we'll be missing him for. Ruben Amorim was asked about it, and he says we'll have to look into it. There has to be caution. It's an injury that is worrying, so hopefully he won't be out for that long. And then Mount came in and had a good game. I give him a 6/10. He could have had an assist in the time that he came on if only Sesko took his chance. He played well. He helped us with the game. But as you can see, from the moment they came in, the game went into lack of control, and we almost lost the game. But at least in the end, we got a point. So if you look at the positives, then that's two games where we could have lost the game and got a point from very bad position. But it's a good thing, because at the end of the day, these points will count at the end of the season. Other things, when you look at the game, Spurs had most of the possession. They had 55% possession to 45%, mostly because after we scored, we sat back and tried to hit on the counter. They had the more passes completed. In terms of the attack, they created 10 shots. They had 10 total shots. We had 5 shots. They created 6 chances. We created 4. The most important metric, they had 4 shots on target. We had 2. One of the things in this game is that we were so clinical. We scored with our only 2 shots on target, so that shows we are very clinical. But unfortunately, we were also not creative enough, because we could have created more chances. This game just was a case of dragging on. We were looking at dragging on and getting the 1-0 win, but we could have done better with the opportunities we did. Some of those came about because Cunha had a poor game. If Cunha has a poor game, then he's one of the people supposed to be creating the chances, and he won't create as much. Mount came on and also created a chance, but it wasn't taken. But in the shots on target that we took, we scored, so that is encouraging. We had they had 3 shots on target, where we had 2 shots on target. So attacking wise, Spurs were the better in this game in terms of the possession, in terms of the chance they created. They took 2 of their chances out of the 4. We took 2 of our chances out of 2. So we didn't create enough in this game. So I think on the balance of play, a draw is a fair result. In terms of the defensive, they had more of the defensive tackles. They had more duels won. So it was almost 52-50, because they had 52 duels won to our 51 duels. We won most of the aerial duels. What shows you is that this game we went long so much. So in most cases, we were looking to go long, try to win the duels, probably fight for the second balls. It's the same tactic that we used against Liverpool, where we were not playing with a striker, but we were looking to win the second balls. Anytime there is a second ball, we were quick to it. So it worked to a point, because we were ahead, and we held on until 7 minutes of losing our head, and we almost lost that game. The terms of interceptions, we almost had equal number of interceptions. Clearances, we had more of the clearances than them. So in most cases, if you look at this attacking and defensive cases, you think Spurs had the better game, but the game was sluggish. There wasn't really that much to get you excited, but there were chances in between that could have been taken if better decisions were made. But this time, unfortunately, so many decisions were not made in the right way. This is still another graphic telling the story of the game. Most importantly, the shots on target, where Spurs had 4 shots on target to our 2, so they had the better attacking impetus. If you look at the Ligt, I think he's man of the match for various reasons. One of the reasons is how he defends. He defended so well. At one point in the first half, the people who had the least number of touches in the game were Richarlison and Colomwani, and that was a case because of how well Maguire, Shaw, and the Ligt defended. But somehow, in the second half, because of the too many changes that we made, there wasn't that cohesiveness in that defense because Maguire got injured and then they had to change the form because the lead started on the right centre back. He had to move to the centre back, middle centre back, then Euro to move to the right centre back. You keep chopping and changing, and that cohesiveness within a game can go away. So that is one of the things that was lost because of too many changes. And he had to fight it out in the last minutes of the game. We had to play 10 men for around 10 minutes because once Sesko went out, we had already made all of our substitutions and we couldn't make an extra substitution. So that is an error from the coach. The coach probably couldn't have anticipated. We always leave one extra substitution until the final minutes of the game because he made all those substitutions too early. Perhaps you can say he wasn't helped by the Maguire injury. I don't think he planned to on substituting Maguire, but the moment he was injured and he had already arranged some other substitution, he thought that he could finish the game with making Euro as a substitution. Unfortunately, we weren't able to finish the game with 11 men, and that is an unfortunate case. So Delete made 6 clearances. He made 2 interceptions and he scored a goal. So he had a very good performance. He's becoming our player of the season so far in terms of the way he's playing defensively. He wasn't being picked by Netherlands earlier in the season, but he's come to a point where even Ronald Koeman can't ignore him anymore. He was in the recent Netherlands squad, and he'll get a good time when he goes out. Hopefully has a good game and then comes back in the same form and we can continue from where he left off. So that was the game for us. We thought we could win this game. I think everyone could sense that we were playing well because at 1-0, in as much as we weren't having much of the ball, Spurs were not threatening, but in 7 minutes they were able to get 2 goals, which is a concern because the amount of goals we are conceding in very short spells. Because you look at Nottingham Forest, in 5 minutes we conceded 2 goals. In 7 minutes we have conceded 2 goals, all from leading position. Yes, we got back into those games, but it's a worry how we are letting games get away from us, or probably points of concentration. What this tells me is that our squad depth is poor because the moment we change Casemiro, the game just goes. The control in the midfield is no longer there. The passing forward is not as fluent. It's not as good as you'd expect. So there's a problem with this squad. The problems are in defensive midfield and in left wing back. Hopefully this January window we can make signings, because without signings it's going to be a long season where any input that we put can be undone by 2 areas where if you either make substitution, the quality of the team goes down, or the players who start in those positions are not doing well enough in terms of Dogu and Dalot. So let's go into the international break. I'm happy we are going into the international break with a draw. It's 5 games and unbeaten. It could have been worse if we had gone into the international break with a loss. We wanted all a win, but sometimes you just have to take the draw because from a losing position you are able to rescue a win. Okay, you can also look earlier from a winning position. You shouldn't be getting a draw, but these games in a tough place to go. It's been a tough place in the recent games. In the last 6 games we have only drawn once. We have lost all the games that we are going to playing against Spurs. So we'll take the draw and hopefully build down from that. So until the next one, you can comment, like, subscribe, interact with this channel. So let's keep talking about Man United. Have a good evening.